What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Exos Heroes video, and in today's video is going to be my Awakening Core Raid guide, which of course kind of feels the same as the Summer Festa and the one before that. However, there are slight changes, so we're going to go through all that as well. So the first thing we need to know is the very core passive that these characters or enemies will have, and just ignore the Dragon Emperor because they actually have different names for it, but the abilities itself or the passives itself are all the same. So the first thing is going to be they are going to be immune to all reflected damage, status, debuff, and marks effects. And next is Dimensional Barrier, which is the same in the Summer Festa, which grants themselves a barrier to 2% of your maximum own health for 1 round at the beginning of each round. This will have a plus 2% for every round. However, the key here is that it does reset upon break, which is very important when you are tackling these enemies. So you need to make sure you know the elements, which we will go through later. Next is the Guardian's Oath, when the round starts, their attack and defense will increase by 50%, which basically stacks every round. And again, this is going to be removed upon break, which makes breaking much more important. Again, we're going to go through all the better characters that you can use. I can't list every single character, but we're going to go through some of the ones that I would highly recommend. Next, let's talk about their active abilities, so active skills. So the biggest thing here is every single one of their abilities will basically have the special trait, which their turn will reset when the skill hits. And you might be thinking to yourself, this sounds really broken. They can't keep on just attacking us. Well, yes and no. Basically, they will run out of mana eventually, right? So they will have to use a normal attack, and therefore will give you a chance to actually attack. And this is why, again, it's very important for you to break their Guardian Stones instead of just doing, normal damage, because if you break them, there's more opportunities for you to actually kill them. So with Baraka, his first skill is going to deal 225% damage and will require him 2 mana. The second skill will require him 3 mana and will deal 525% damage to one enemy. Now let's move on to Ramji. His first skill, Touch of Darkness, will only require 1 mana and will deal 225% damage to one target. His second skill is White Lion Run, which basically will deal 133% damage to all enemies and will require 3 mana. Now as for Shufraken, is basically almost identical to Ramji. His first ability, Demon Sword of Disintegration. How come I said that in disintegration? Disintegration will require 1 mana and will deal 300% damage to one enemy. His second one, Destruction of Time and Space, will require 3 mana and will deal 210% damage to all targets. Okay guys, now let's take a quick look at some very good raid core tips. This actually really applies to most of the raid cores so far. So if you have seen my previous raid core guides, some of them are basically, most of them are going to be the same, with some few additional things here and there added as updates come and go. So the first one is going to bring some Dragon Blood characters. Now the key characters here are going to be FC Baelish or FC Ramji if you have him. You have FC Anastasia for the ice element, and then you have FC Rera for the nature element. So those characters are going to be very helpful. Wrath is still very good in PvE. Now, next one is to bring characters that have dot effects on their skills. So this will very much help you in removing those armor cores, because they do tick and they will destroy Guardian cores or Guardian Stones, whatever you want to call them, every time it ticks. Now the sequence for this one, depending on their health bar, is going to start with the dark element, going to ice, and then going to the nature element. Now, moving on, you can actually burst down HP bars if you just time it right. You can skip the ice element if you can really burst it down. It is quite possible. Now, the last tip I have for you guys here is something that we've gotten not too long ago, but I wouldn't say not as far away, but not a lot of people actually invested on this enhancement, and that is elemental enhancement. This will allow you to break multiple guardian stones and therefore breaking your enemies. Alright guys, now let's take a look at who to bring. Now for the dark element, I do have Baelish. Once again, I mentioned him before. He is going to be a very good character. You can actually use FC Baelish as well because they are very identical. Adams is a pretty good character to burst down. Shufraken with his Fear of Abyss can actually, you know, hit off those remaining HP so you can go to the next one. Keylok or Kylok or whatever you want to call him, he is pretty good. He has dot effects as well. Now let's take a look at the ice elements. Bathory is still the way to go. She is very good at burst damage, and if you can elemental enhance her, she's very good. FC Anastasia, another good character to bring. Valentina, just the regular Valentina, is going to be very good as well. FC Valentina can actually work in burning down the mana for the enemies. If you are going to bring FC Shufraken as well, that can work. And finally, I have Kirina as the last one here. She can definitely burst down those HP bars if you don't have a very good burst ice element hero. Now for the nature, I have FC Rera, or just regular Rera is actually going to be pretty useful here as well. Again, the normal Rera actually has poison dot effects on her abilities, so definitely going to be very helpful, as well as Jinai, Raisis. Both of those characters have poison effects as well, so they are going to be very useful. Now you might be a little bit confused, but the dot effects are separate from statuses, so yeah, they are definitely gonna work. Rudley, the regular Rudley, is going to be very useful in bursting down the remaining HP bar. Alright guys, so we're finally towards the end of this video, and I guess you guys can watch my first attempt on the FC Shufraken core raid. And while that's going in the background, I'll give you guys my final thoughts about this event. Now overall, it's still kind of the same. Basically, the strategy for these core raids are going to be the same, which it's kind of a letdown, honestly. There are obviously going to be like slight tweaks here and there, like for this one, they don't have like a stun sort of effect. They have reset effects on their abilities. So while I think the Summer Festa is the harder core raid than this one, because that one you can be permanently locked into a stun, which I actually experienced once. This time around, they will run out of mana eventually, and they will have to actually regain those mana. And if they do, for example, let's say they did their Shufraken did his first ability, which only requires 1 mana. It's not like he's gonna gain 3 mana for the next one, so he will actually just do a normal attack until the next turn, when he can actually gain the mana back, enough mana back to actually do it. So overall, I think this is the more easier in terms of core raid, but I am quite disappointed that a lot of the, I guess a lot of the strategy is in its core is the same, and that's pun intended, by the way. Its core is all the same, so I'm slightly disappointed, and the rewards are kind of the same as well. We are kind of sick of FC what's his name? I don't even remember his name now. What was it? I think, yeah, Gale. The first reward is always FC Gale. Please just remove him. Just remove him and make it so it's someone else. I know for newer players they probably want to grab that, but honestly, it's like the third time in a row or fourth time in a row. I don't even remember how many. So we've got the first one, which was the sheeps, and then we've got first guardian, and then this is the fourth time in a row that FC Gale is the FC reward for the first tier of rewards. I honestly think they should just change that. But enough of me ranting and complaining. Those are basically my overall thoughts for this one. Again, kind of disappointed, but we do get all those extra goodies as well. Hopefully the next one is going to be different. And yeah, that is it for this video, guys. Please do remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already, because it does help this channel. I do have a goal by the end of the year to have 5,000 subscribers. So if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. It does really help, and I would highly appreciate it. Of course, you can also leave down in the comments below what you think of this core raid. If you're new, I guess there's not much to complain about, but if you are an older player, let me know what you think of the core raids and what you think are some of the changes they need to do in order to make some improvements on this particular events. Anyway, guys, make sure to follow me on Twitter and on Facebook as well at Munchkins Gaming. This is Munchkins logging off. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next level.